Alright my friends, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I want to talk to you about DLSS 4 and FSR4. So if you guys like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I come up with these little weird funny ideas all the time, and it would be nice if you would show your support because I do a lot of thinking about these. So first of all, alright, let's talk about this. FSR4, DLSS 4, absolutely phenomenal, right? I don't think that there's a person on the planet that would disagree with that statement. That DLSS 4 and FSR4, they're incredible. They get the job done. We can legitimately use performance mode and it looks almost as good as 4K. Almost as good as 4K. Like, it's really hard to tell the difference. That is me admitting that both DLSS 4 and FSR4 are close enough to native rendering at performance level that yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. So, but now that I've admitted that, I would like to see a faster adoption rate for these technologies. I think that both AMD and NVIDIA should, instead of continuing to develop on these technologies right now, at least right now, I wish they would turn more to mass adoption. That would be significantly better in my opinion, because let's face it, after yesterday, coming home from work and throwing on Oblivion and being able to, well actually first I had to come home, I had to download the Adrenaline app, I had to download the Adrenaline beta. There's a lot of people saying, oh, you didn't do it right. No, you need to download 25.4.1, and this is not a mandatory, it's an optional driver. So you're gonna wanna download that, you're gonna look it up, AMD's Adrenaline 25.4.1, and then you're gonna download that, you're gonna update your Adrenaline stack, and then you will have access to FSR4 in a bunch of new games. You get it in Assassin's Creed Shadows, you get it in Oblivion, there's like a whole list of them. There was like a whole list of them that you'll be able to get those. Now this is not something that they're going to push to you. You have to actively look this up and search this out. But here's the thing, guys. We have the technology. Like, we can legitimately download OptiScaler and put this technology in any game. So instead of us sitting here continuing to go forward, talking about which one's better, zooming in 1000%, doing all of this nonsense, look, they both look fantastic. I can barely tell a difference now between native rendering and using these. And if I jump right into the game in performance mode, it looks good enough to where I do not question the validity of how my games are looking now when utilizing DLSS 4, when utilizing FSR4, and frame generation. Frame generation definitely still needs a little bit of work on both of them, but for the most part, it's good enough to where they can both move forward and start pushing the power envelope further. And maybe, like, I think if both AMD and NVIDIA were to take a step back and kind of look at the landscape right now and look at the way games are, look at the way, software runs, and find a way to actively just enable these technologies immediately, like right when they come out, without developer support, I think that would be significantly more beneficial, like a driver level feature like AMD's Fluid Motion Frames 2.1, that you just turn it on. You go in, if you want it on that game, boom, you just select it from the driver menu. That is where we need to be with these technologies. I'm sorry, we cannot depend on developers to do that. And if the technology, it's getting split. It's getting split so much. Like, you have DLSS 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. I mean, now you can force some games. The only reason I say this is because, yeah, you can force DLSS 4 in some games, but you can't force it in every single one of them. They have to still be supported. So when I look at that, or when I look at, like with AMD, having to do a toggle or something like that, or not working on some games, but working on other ones. No, we need consistency. I'm a big proponent of consistency. If you go back across the channel, you know that I'm always banging on about my consistency. I like consistency. I like that. I think it is, I don't want to have, if they're going to make me depend on features like DLSS 4 and FSR4 to get my full visual quality, I need it to be consistent. I need it to be in every game. I need it to be there day one. I need it to be front and center in my experience. If that is where they want to take gaming, I need it to be readily available. I need it to be more rapidly adopted in games, like it has to. It has to go backwards. It has to be able to support older games that have never even had an upscaler. They need a driver level way to add this in. If OptiScaler, if a guy in his basement can put together a little thing that you just have to copy and paste into files, can make it work, I'm pretty sure NVIDIA and AMD can make this work too. Yes, we need to go back. We need to have a driver level feature that is going to work across the spectrum with all these games. Just like AMD's Fluid Motion Frames 2.1 works, I would like that to be for FSR4. And then I would like FSR4 to go back to, you know, the 7000 series GPUs, 6000 series GPUs. Even if it's just a software, even like however it would run on there, it does need to go back, and they do need to take that more seriously. But obviously we are good we are at a pretty good starting point too going forward. The 9000 or AMD's, you know, FSR or RDNA 4 GPUs, they're moderately priced to a point where, like, look, mass adoption could take place. Yeah, you're going to spend a little bit more money up front, but you are getting a better, you know, overall GPU. You're getting something with better technology going forward. So I do feel like that trade-off is worth it, because you know at least this set of GPUs can do it, so you will be able to take advantage of that going forward. So this technically, and this is a big if, okay? If AMD is going to just give up on the 7000 series cards, okay? I freaked out on NVIDIA for this shit. I mean, AMD is no better off. I mean, if they don't find a way, or at least be able to come out and explain exactly why it won't work. I need something. I need something, because PlayStation 5 Pro can run FSR, can run PSSR, and obviously FSR4 is coming to it next year. So you're trying to tell me that a 7900 XTX can't do it? No. Okay, I'm not gonna buy that. I'm not gonna accept that. I'm not gonna, you know, like, no. So I need AMD's FSR or RDNA 3 to actually support this going forward, one way or another. It needs to come, it needs to happen, and it needs to be a viable solution to the upscaling. Now, this is me now, okay? If you've been at this channel for a while, you know that, like, I evolve, okay? I don't call it flip-flopping. I call it evolution, okay? I do evolve, okay? I evolved from 2D side scrollers on Nintendo with 8-bit. I evolved into 16-bit. I evolved into 3D. I evolved as my experiences come. I evolve. I evolved from 1080p to 1440p. I evolved from 1440p to 4K. I evolved to ultra-wide. I am constantly always evolving. New experiences will always give me that opportunity to try something new and decide if I like it or I don't. So I have evolved from native resolution over to upscaling. And I do feel like upscaling could potentially be the future. It does save on resources. It does make it so you don't technically have to buy as expensive hardware. But I kind of feel like AMD and NVIDIA are going about this the wrong way. Like, these are incredible, amazing technologies. Like, don't get me wrong. And I know that they spend a lot of money into RD to bring these features and make them available. So yeah, obviously they want to get paid for it, but they're not going to be able to charge us that forever. They're not. I get that the 9070 XT, 9070, 9060 XT might seem a little bit expensive, especially with the AIB partners. The same with the 50 series GPUs from NVIDIA. They definitely seem more expensive, but the level of, I feel like the level of, you know, upscaling that we're at right now, like, it is good. Like, it is really good. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm playing Oblivion. And I'm looking at this game, and I'm running FSR4. I'm running this at performance level, and I'm just looking at these visuals, and I'm like, gosh dang, on a 4K OLED monitor, on a 4K OLED, and I'm looking at this game, and I'm like, this looks perfect. This looks absolutely freaking perfect. The pixels are perfect. I don't see any blur. I don't see any fuzz K. I don't see any of that crap. I just see a beautiful image, no ghosting, and it just looks good. Like, it looks incredible, my friends. And I'm looking at this, and I'm spinning the camera, and I'm looking at my character's bright blue eyes like mine, and I'm like, wow, this absolutely looks incredible. And I was thinking the same thing over on DLSS. I'm looking at this game, and I'm like, these are really good visuals. Like, this game looks very, very good. I love the way that this looks. It's got this minimalist feeling, or this look to it, that just looks impressive and incredible. And I keep looking at that, and I'm like, wow, these technologies are incredible. What they can do, what they can bring, what they can you know, show you while you're playing your video games and stuff is just unbelievable. You know, the level of AA that these technologies bring to keep your image quality stable and stuff like that. Look, man, I've been playing games for a very long time. You know, I remember back when Shenmue came out for the Sega Dreamcast. The stair stepping was phenomenal. I mean, like, you would look at the wires and they would just be like all over the place, and it was just like, wow, man, there's so much movement on the screen, you know? And I look at that kind of stuff, and it's like, it didn't bug me, but I was just like, wow, everything else looks so good that I'm looking at that and I'm just like, okay, I mean, whatever. I mean, it never bugged me, but now, like, actually being able to see these games with like perfect AA, just looking at them, and there's like no stair stepping, there's no jaggies, there's none of that, and it's just like, wow, this looks good. Like, it looks clean. I like the way this looks, you know, and so I look at that, and I take all of that into consideration, you know, in this video, and I'm like, wow, guys, yeah, I just would like to see a more rapid adoption from developers, from AMD, from NVIDIA, being able to bring this technology and move it forward. Like, I just want it in all games now. That's it. That's basically it. Like, I want this to be in every game. So, all right, my friends, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.